Mr. Speaker, thanks for joining. What do we have wrong?
Well, I think this is a lot like all the conversations during the presidential campaign, where the ups and downs, the ins and outs, they really seemed important in Washington, and they just didn't matter. The country looks at a Congress that's totally dysfunctional, a current president who's totally absent without leave, and Donald Trump at least trying to get something done. And I think they go, wow, this must be really hard. But I think as long as Trump keeps pounding and he keeps trying to get something done, he looks fine. The Democrats look like they are who they are, the party of government. And I think, again, as you said a while ago, J.D. Vance and I are on the same page. I am very comfortable if the Democrats turn out to be totally dysfunctional and are willing to close the government, which they value, and the spending which they passed. And I think most of the country will go, okay, that's fine. I mean, all the government employees who weren't coming to work won't come to work. But I don't think there's a great sense of anxiety outside of Washington about what's going on. The long-term question is, can Trump figure out a strategy to gain working control of the Congress? And that's going to be the number one issue for him domestically for the next 2 years, because he can't pass his tax cuts. He can't pass the major changes until he figures out how to have a working majority, and whether you can do that with a Republican Party that has at least 20 members who will capriciously vote no on everything. It's hard. This is a really big challenge, maybe a bigger challenge than winning the presidency.
Well, we saw a lot of them capriciously vote no yesterday after Donald Trump explicitly told them not to. So how is that solved? I agree with you. Long term, it's a big issue. How is it solved in the next week?
I think they probably eventually get a clean CR of some kind.
All right,
but I think
Sean was at least right about that.
Yeah, but I don't think if I think from Trump's perspective, there's no great rush to do this. I mean, if the Biden presidency ends in chaos and the Biden presidency ends with government shutdowns, and Biden looks like he's totally absent and the Democrats look like they're totally negative, I'm not sure from Trump's standpoint that's not a pretty acceptable way to enter the new term. So I think he has strategically a much stronger hand than people in Washington think.
I'm semi-convinced. I'll tell you what's different. I'll tell you what's different about this is national parks being closed over in December is not as big a deal, because I don't know how much people are using national parks in December. But government employees not getting paid over the run up to Christmas, don't you think that will be something that gets a lot of attention?
Do you think the average American who believes 50%, according to Gallup, 50% of all government spending is waste, and who believes that 95% of government employees are sitting at home, you think they're going to go, oh my gosh, this is terrible? They're going to go, that's fine. Unless it affects them. Now, if you're the government employee, that bothers you. But you've seen state governments go through stuff like this. Times you've seen state governments pay in script because they couldn't figure out how to get their budget done.
Well, and let's also be real. There hasn't been a shutdown. I was there in '94 with the speaker. I mean, since multiple shutdowns. The bottom line is these government employees know they're all getting paid back. I mean, this is a joke. The idea that they go without pay is not true. They just get I mean, I'm sorry that this is, but no one buys that this is going to be a problem.
I think the average American, this is a gamble, Mark. I believe, as a good hardline conservative, that the average American believes Washington has to be deeply shaken up. And if the process of shaking up Washington involves pain, confusion, turmoil, and lots of people sucking their thumb and walking in circles, that's fine. At least Trump's shaking up Washington. And
all right, I'm even more convinced now, but I'm going to let Dan come in. Dan.
Well, look, I agree with the speaker. Democrats should not be defending the status quo. Nobody in this environment. I think the problem is people look negatively at the government until that government service is cut off. And then they say, wait, my government service that I'm receiving, A, B, C, and D, is good. It's everyone else's that is a waste, and turn it back on so it doesn't negatively impact my life today. And I think the problem is getting from here to there, where people don't feel pain. And if it's during the holidays and it's for 30 days or more, that becomes a challenge because, to the speaker's point, once Trump gets in office, he still has the no caucus. So he's going to have to come to Democrats and cut a deal. So I don't see how that's different. I mean, the terms will be a little bit better for Trump, but he still has a problem that he has a significant bloc with a narrower majority next year that won't negotiate with him.
Yeah, I think this is the most important and most interesting challenge of Trump's first year in office.
Yeah.
And I think, on the other hand, I think he's really smart, and I think that he now knows he has a problem.
Let me ask
And
you-
I think eventually he'll figure out a solution. My only point is, the average American who just voted for change is pretty happy to see that Trump actually wants change. They would have been more unhappy to have had the 1,500-page bill passed, because it would have looked like a total repudiation of the election.